What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are doing well. Today I thought about making a bit of a raw clip. So basically, I'm up in the studio. It's been a while since we've been up here. I'm up in the studio smoking a... I almost burned myself. Smoking a beautiful Davidoff Anniversario. Super nice cigar. It's been a really long time since I smoked one of these. But yeah, super nice cigar. And I thought about discussing a bit on how this year was for me. So this year's been a very challenging year, but also a very rewarding year. So for me personally, it's been quite the journey. And I thought about reflecting a bit on this year in a raw manner. So obviously, yeah, I'm not going to be, it's completely unscripted, completely no points, nothing. I'm just gonna go with the flow. But that's the beauty of these types of conversations, like having a conversation with yourself. So for me, I'm doing this for me to be able to look back into this year. And yeah, so pretty much like this year has been a very, very big year for me without me even realizing. I mean, truth be told, there's been a lot of peaks, but also a lot of lows. But we also learned a lot. So it's been monumental in a way where I was able to really, really understand who I am as a person, and not just by me saying this, go beyond that. So literally work on a way how to be able to tap into your inner conscience, and that's what I've done. And this comes into realization only around June this year. So the first few months, I mean from January to March, have been mainly prioritized on the business, and there's been a lot of growth in the business as well. So business has really started to form now, and there's a lot of things happening in the background, so I'm very happy with that. Especially Q4 this year has been big, and that's the thing, throughout Q1, from January to March, April, I was actually just prioritizing work and nothing else. And obviously these types of things, it shows. So where you put your energy to, you see the biggest results, but then obviously the other aspects are going to slack. So that's what happened when between January and March, April. It's like my social life took quite a downturn, and obviously the business did okay, it did well. And that being said, though, it's been quite eye-opening to be able to go through periods of loneliness, or as I like to call them now, solitude, and be able to become comfortable again by being with yourself. And I see this so much. I saw this actually in myself in the beginning of this year. I was really, really, really bad with dealing with being alone, and I wasn't comfortable with being by myself. And that being said, obviously, at the end of last year, I actually came out of a 2-year relationship. So obviously, it had to take some getting used to being alone again. When you're in a long-term relationship, most of the time you're spending it with your partner. So by having to be by yourself again, yeah, it takes a while to get used to it. So yeah, I mean, January, February, March were some good months. I did do some traveling. We hit up Kuala Lumpur. I visited my friend in Amsterdam. We went to Kuala Lumpur. That also opened up a bit my perspective again, being able to travel outside the EU and being able to experience different cultures. And truth be told, the most life-changing months for me were, I would say, from May till September has been big. So May, I mean, I've talked about this many times, but in May I've managed to do, I would say, achieve one of my, not, I wouldn't say dreams, but there's more to it, because the thing is, it was not just a trip. Being able to go to eBay's, which is the biggest private jet conference in Europe, did not just mean me traveling. I travel all the time. It's not no big deal. It's more regarding the fact that I've dreamt about doing this trip, this attending this conference for so many years. I remember I was still 16 years old working for another company, and I was already imagining myself going there. And at that time, obviously, Picajal was something that didn't exist. And this year, looking back, while sitting in the airport lounge, about to take the flight to Geneva, it's been like a very big realization, a very big, like, you're achieving your dream. And not just that, like, we've managed to achieve that dream and basing the expenses on Picajal revenue. So now, not only was I attending this conference, but I was attending this conference for my own company, which has, like, it's mad, you know? It's really mad. From just a dream, we managed to turn it into reality. And the fact that I was going kind of like public, openly, it's been a very big it's been a very big moment for me. And I would say it was only in May in the conference that I realized, like, you're onto something. It's when it was that moment where you realize, like, this is it. This is all you wanted. Going like public, you know, when you're building a startup, you have also a lot of time to basically behind the scenes. So there's a lot of building that goes on to behind the scenes that no one gets to see. And that's what I've been doing for the last 2 years, I would say. Like building behind the scenes and like working on the business. And attending that type of conference was like that pat on the shoulder, like, you're doing it now, you know, it's real, it's getting real. So yeah, very, very, very big moment for me, and very inspiring as well. So, not gonna lie though, I remember the first day walking in the conference for the first time ever, being surrounded by the big dogs, like the big names in the industry, and you're there like just a one-man show. It was very overwhelming. So I remember, like, I had no idea where to start. Obviously, it was my first conference, granted, but like, yeah, it's been a big, overwhelming moment. So, but then, you know, like, that's the thing. It's about like calming yourself down and just starting one conversation at a time. And it's amazing because obviously, being a new face in the industry, like, it's nice to be able to speak with people, share your vision, get inspired, and share value. I mean, it's incredible. Like, I was able to also speak with individuals where I was giving them certain types of value, and in exchange they would give me other type of advice, for example. So it's a very inspiring moment, and it's been a very good trip, followed by a few days in Frankfurt with Leon, also really nice. And like the rest of the month, I mean, June was okay. July, August, September, I also tried to prioritize a bit more on the social aspect while also doing a lot of work, but I was enjoying myself a bit more. And it's been genuinely one of the best summers I've ever experienced. And I've done nothing special about it, like during summer, but it's like being with myself, being happy, spending time cooking on the barbecue, smoking a nice cigar here and there, like just going out for drinks, but these little things, you know, like hanging with good people, made some new friends, traveled, spent time reflecting, journaling, these kinds of things, like going to the sea, by the sea, you know, these kinds of things. And this has been a very nice summer, actually. Like, I mean, I would say that this was generally one of the nicest summers I've ever experienced. And yeah, I was meant to end the summer in Portugal. Well, actually, we did end this summer in Portugal, but yeah, I mean, I remember the first week of September, I had a very small incident with the bike, but luckily nothing serious with that, unlike the one that happened a few weeks ago. So, yeah, it was a very nice moment to be able to also look back and like go through the photos now, and I see like this is what I wanted to do. And it was nice to be able to enjoy myself a bit following a few months of hard work. And that's the thing, like, it's all about, I would say, it's about balance. Like, I know that there's a lot of people that say, go hard, go hard, go hard. Yes, you do have to go hard. You have to go through moments where you are literally going hard. Like, but it's also about understanding and taking time to rest, because this machine needs time to recover. So by strategizing your seasons, and that's what I'll be doing also next year, it helps you make time for everything, make stages, like work in stages and sprints. And for me, I found that this works out to be a really good strategy for moving forward. So that's what I'll probably be doing in 2025. So anyways, let's continue a bit. So October was okay. Nothing particular, nothing special happened. Like October, November were like full on work mode again. And Q4 this year has been mad. Like, mad. I mean, I used to tell everyone how hard I was working, and it's true. I was really working hard before that. But October and November, I genuinely pushed the bar so high, and I just got onto such a good routine where I was like literally hustling, like literally, like this was like the level I was working at, which I thought would be maximum capacity. I pushed that by about 20% higher in October and November. And the level of output it showed, because the level of output that I was able to see from by changing my inputs was incredible. So October was a very monumental year for October and November were very monumental months for the business. We've done partnerships, we've done like agreements with partners and this kind of stuff. So it's been a very, very big 2 months. December I was planned to go to Dubai for MIBA, which was also going to be another milestone. But unfortunately, a week before that, I was involved into a small incident with my motorbike, which unfortunately was not as lucky as the previous one, where I was just like bruised. This one was a bit more intense, so it pushed me quite into. I had to force myself to basically stop what I was doing and like take time. And this is the thing, like December was supposed to be a month of reflection for me, and it was supposed to be a good month where I would be doing another big milestone for the business. And that's the thing, it's like sometimes you have to be able to adapt with what life throws at you, because in December my life changed quite a bit. I mean, I had plans which all had to be scrapped. And that being said, it's about adapting to the situations, keeping calm, and just going with the flow. So December, like in the end of November, when this incident happened, obviously I've done a few days in hospital. Yeah, when you are working on your own business, like things take a bit of a halt. Even though I was getting work done in the hospital regardless, but when you go through certain trauma, with regards to injuries, you have to force your, like, the body is not working at the same capacity, because obviously it's trying to heal itself. And that's what I learned this month, is because I was still trying to push for the same level of outputs or inputs that I was going in November and October. But obviously you have to realize that when you're going through such a moment in time, you have to allow yourself to heal, and that's something I wasn't able to do. That's something I was not even doing at all. So it genuinely was a big lesson for me to listen to the body and say, like, if the body is not able to maintain that level of input, you have to decrease it slowly. And you also have to adjust expectations, because you can't go into something with the expectations of achieving the level of inputs that you were achieving before, after going through such trauma, for example. So that's something that I had to learn how to live with and learn from. And it's been eye-opening also in the fact that how many things we take for granted. We take so many things for granted in life. Like there were a few days a week where I was barely able to walk properly. So imagine the level of disappointment, or like, yeah, I would say I wouldn't call it disappointment. It's more like a struggle. So, and being very persistent, I tried to push through it. So I remember the week following the incident, I tried to go to the gym with crutches, for example. And I tried to still maintain working out and this kind of things, but obviously the body is not able to handle that load. So what ended up happening? I got fever the next day, because the body was just unable to handle that load. So yeah, it's not something I wanted to do, but I obviously had to basically lower down the loads and just listen to the body. And the body needed time to rest and deal with the trauma. So that's what I've done. So you learn how to work with whatever cards you are given, and that's the most important lesson I learned this year. You learn to see the true colors of people when shit hits the fan, and you basically get to understand who's meant to stick in your life and who's not. You get to see the who's meant for you and who is not. And regardless, regardless of how you take it, it's still a lesson. I've learned not to chase this year, something I used to do before, and I stopped chasing everything. Like, I stopped chasing wealth, I stopped chasing people, I stopped chasing opportunities, but instead I started focusing more on my inputs. I started focusing more on what I put in, the energy I give into the word. If I'm meeting someone, I want to give them my best attention. So regardless of it being personal or business, if I'm meeting someone for business, I have to be in a position where I can give them the best value. And that applies also to friends. If I'm meeting a friend, I have to be mentally present, something I never did before, because previously I used to be living in the future. So I would be with someone and constantly be thinking about what I'm doing next. And it wasn't a healthy thing to do, because obviously you're never present in the moment, you're never able to appreciate what you have. And by being able to be present, you're able to focus on what's important, focus on your input. Because if I'm present, I'm able to basically make sure that whatever I'm doing now, I'm doing it at my best capacity, as to be able to deliver the best possible results. Rather that if I'm thinking about what I'm doing next, I'm going to be constantly using my mental capacity on thinking about the future. So I like these raw conversations because I'm speaking to my conscience right now. And that's the beauty of it. It's about being honest with yourself. There's been a lot of losses this year, but there's also been a lot of lessons learned. Because a loss is an opportunity for you to learn something. Something that you didn't do that well, for you to be able to move forward into the next opportunity and learn from that mistake that was done in the previous one. But most people get stuck up in their past, or they blame themselves in the past, or they use their past as an excuse rather than an opportunity to improve. And this year was really eye-opening. Also, I started noticing how people, when you give good energy to people, people want to be with you, want to be around you. And yeah, it's incredible. It's really incredible. Like, having people message you asking you for advice, it's honestly priceless. And that's the beauty of these YouTube videos that I do. It's not about like me pretending or me flexing while traveling or me doing this and this. No, it's about giving value to people, because this shit is priceless. Having someone tell you like they can't wait to see you again because of the value that you've given them in the previous meetup. Growing this YouTube channel means it's like a documentary on the journey. And not just in business, that's the thing. It's like, I'm not doing this to inspire people to go and do business. If that's not for you, that's not for you. I'm inspiring people to go and chase the best version of themselves. And I want people to look back into my videos in a few years down the line and say, this person has changed his mentality, his perspective. And you can see it in the way he speaks, you can see it in the way he presents himself, you can see it in the way he gives value to other people. And we all start from zero. Like, when we're born, we have no value, no attributions, no talent, no nothing. And then eventually you start learning and building up. And that's been also another thing. It's about learning about bringing the best version out of yourself and finding your purpose as to be able to serve the world with what you were set out to do. And you might ask, how do I do that? And I have an answer for that. I've only been able this year to basically understand myself by going through moments in time of solitude, periods of solitude. And solitude is dangerous at first because you're like, I'm lonely. But no, you're not. In the beginning of the year, if you've asked me, do you feel lonely? I would have told you, yes, I do. If you had to ask me the same question nowadays, I seek time for myself. I make it a point, for example, that every Sunday morning, I spend time with myself. I spend time with my thoughts. And on my Instagram, I always post a few quotes, a few journaling stuff and this kind of thing. But it's because sometimes I ask myself questions, or I write a quote on my journal where this quote or this perspective gives me time to think about something about myself. And that's the beauty of it. It's about having a student mindset, but also for your own self, for your own thoughts. And that's been something I've been able to achieve this year. Honestly, I still would say that I'm still very new to this, so there's still a long way to go, and I still haven't figured out certain things about myself, so but the right time will come. So now it's about being present and being able to take some time off, both from work and also from being able to de-stress a bit, so as to be able to go into next year with a clear vision, clear mindset. And that's one thing that I see people do. It's like they go out with no directions, no aspirations, nothing. And what happens is, so imagine you have a ship and you're the captain of the ship, and the ship is always moving. If I have a North Star, if I know where I want to go, regardless of whatever storm I enter, the compass will always point north for me. So by having a vision, your compass is set to north. So if I enter a storm and I'm completely blinded by what's happening around me, I'm still able to follow the compass. I'm still able to just push the ship forward towards the North Star or the North Point. And that's the thing. It's like, it's such an underrated thing to do. It's like because you're going to enter storms. You're going to have storms come into your life. You're going to find fog. You're going to go through moments of disruptions, problems, like issues. But by having yourself grounded in a way where you know where you're going, you're following the North Star, you're not gonna get lost. You're gonna find yourself. You're going to be able to still push through that. And eventually the storm will pass, or eventually you will overcome or outgrow that storm. And when you don't have a vision, when you don't know where you're going, the compass is constantly going around. So what happens is, you're not able to, whenever you get a storm, and if the compass is not showing you the right directions, you're just going to be turning in circles, because you're aimless, you have no guidance. So that's why it's important to know where you want to go and what you want to achieve. And again, this doesn't mean like be an entrepreneur and these kinds of things. No. If you're set out to be, for example, a doctor or something like that, that's your North Star. So whenever you go into a storm or a hard moment or a hard period in life, you're going to push through that. You're going to persist. And that's what you will end up achieving if you stick to it. But most people, by not having a clue where they want to go, they end up losing their direction. And that's been one of the best eye-opening lessons of this year. It's about finding the North Point and sticking through it. So, yeah. Find your North Point. Find where you want to go. Find time to sit still with yourself this year and build out 2025, what you want to achieve. Because if you're going into 2025 clueless, you're not going to get the best out of it. You're going to keep on wasting time. And I know for a fact that 2025 will be a very, very big year for me. And I'm going to make it out to be a big year. It's going to be another year where I learn a lot, where I sit still, where I understand myself, where I prioritize different things at different times. But it's going to be a big year. And I'm picking up the pace again from the incident, so it will be quite a year. With that being said, I want to end this video with a very positive note. I want you to achieve what you set out to achieve. I hope that you are blessed with all the opportunities that you want. But you have to remember that you have to also put in the work. So whatever you want to achieve, you have to make sure that you're still putting in the work. And just keep on moving forward regardless. So with that being said, I want to leave you hopefully a nice message before Christmas and say, like, I wish you the best. Take time throughout this holiday season to find yourself and find where you want to go and your hopes and ambitions for 2025. Note them down, ideally on a piece of paper, so you're able to look back on them and see how far you've come. And just, may whatever you desire come true. So with that being said, guys, I want to leave you with a very positive message. I hope you enjoyed this very raw talk. It's a bit long, but I hope you have a blessed holiday season, and my DMs are always open, so do come and ask me if you have any questions or put them down in the comments. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a good week, and I'll see you in the next one.